For the last couple of years, Lifelong Learning UK has been trying to change the arguments around data collection within the further education sector. You might be aware that we took over the staff individualised record data collection 2 years ago. And what we've done, we've turned the world on its head in a sense. Previously, data was useful to policymakers in central government. We've put FE college providers at the centre of our data collection and reporting activities through a new tool called OLAP. It stands for Online Analytical Processing. Now, what's that? Well, if you can imagine a window into the entire SIR dataset through the internet. So we're allowing you as a college to interrogate and draw reports from all of the SIR returns that we made last year. What's new this year? Well, in April 2010, we're launching version 2 of that OLAP resource. That's very exciting. We've been able to upload 7 years worth of legacy data. So if you're a college and you've been giving us an SIR return for the last 7 years, you'll be able to look back in time and measure change and benchmarks historically. The other thing we've been able to do is launch a new data set into that OLAP cube. So not only will you be measuring against the SIR return, you'll also be able to measure against some of the local authority and census metrics which have been collected across the country. The first thing you need to do when you're logging on to our OLAP portal is to acquire a username and password for your organisation. Now, we can give up to 10 usernames and passwords to each organisation who gives us data. So once you're logged into the secure area, you'll see on the left-hand side a button that's called OLAP Reporting. If you click that, you'll get a couple of options. You can either open up what we call the dashboard. It's quite an exciting tool. It mines a lot of information very quickly. So you can generate a dashboard for workforce characteristics. That will include things like the gender breakdown of your workforce, the age profile, disability profile, and ethnic breakdown of your workforce. There's another drop down in this area that allows you to measure change in those demographics through time. So if you've been giving us data regularly, you can see how the profile of your workforce has changed over a period of 7 years. Other interesting dashboards that you can generate are dashboards that look at the qualifications of your staff and whether your staff break down into full-time or part-time, so the ratio of your staff in terms of employment gearings. Moving away from the dashboard back into the OLAP tab, you can see down at the bottom of the screen that we have set up some predefined reports on the system for you to use. Now, there's a high-level taxonomy there which will allow you to look at, again, characteristics, employment or qualifications related fields. Say, for example, we're interested in learning more about how the age profile of my organisation compares with that in other organisations. We have a look at some of the predefined reports under the characteristics tab. We generate age distribution of staff, and immediately OLAP is analysing about 250,000 staff records. It's separating me as an organisation, my organisation, from the rest of the sector. And interestingly, what OLAP will do, it will allow you to define what you mean when you say sector. So you can look at national sector, regional, sub-regional down to local authority level. You can also look at different parts of the sector in terms of mainstream FE colleges, NatSpec colleges, work-based learning providers or adult and community learning providers. So what we're going to do with this report is look at further education colleges nationally and find out how my college compares with that. So we'll click the report and it will start crunching the numbers. So what we see on screen now are age demographics of me as a provider at the top, and then below that we can see the age demographics of the sector. Now, some people might want to take that information in visually rather than in numbers, and so we can scroll down a little bit further and immediately we see a chart tab. So clicking the chart tab, on the right hand side you see a normal curve, which is the normal distribution of age within the sector. On the left-hand side, you can see that this college may have an issue around succession planning. About 17.5% of its staff are between the age of 40 and 45, but if we go back 10 years, you can see that that's dropped to below 5%. You bring meaning to the figures. That may be an issue for you as a provider. It may not be, depending on how your organisation chooses to operate. The other thing we'd like you to be able to do is export all of this data for the purposes of making arguments internally with your leadership team. So if we scroll up, we can have a look at this button that says Export to Excel. Clicking that, it immediately opens the Excel program and dumps all of the reports that you've just generated in Excel for you to manipulate locally and share across your senior management team. So in summary, with OLAP version 2, we've increased the access that colleges have to legacy data. We can now look back 7 years in time at data that they've given us in the past. We've also increased the access that all providers have to local authority metrics. So if you're a provider and you've given us data, you can immediately benchmark yourself against local authority equality and diversity metrics. In the future, one of the things we're hoping to do is add further data sets into our OLAP portal. We'd like to hear from different colleges, different work-based learning and adult and community learning providers about the types of data that they will use to make strategic decisions in the future and consider ways that we can add those onto our portal.